the beauty of what we're going through with the coronavirus and being isolated is the creativity that is being expressed in the world and the unitedness. People are coming together in spite of our separation of time and space and coming together to create a message. And I see Karen just joined us. Thank you, Karen, for posting that today. I know you probably weren't thinking that this would be what you saw when you logged in.
That's right. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Yes.
But I was so inspired by that. Again, a beautiful tribute to the folks in Minneapolis. And one of the things that struck me about that song, if you listen, I'm a lyrics person. I love music, but I'm a lyrics person to my heart. And they literally said, there would be bread for all of us if we just bear the cross. And that was a powerful message this morning. And you'll see that it ties right into the inspirational message for the day. So, all right. That was my moment. Now it's time for the inspirational reading. And Nancy has that today. Let
Yeah,
me
I do.
get
Okay.
that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It may be one that you read from the Daily Word because it's as early as April the 14th, but I liked what it said. It's the topic is compassion. I show compassion through empathy and understanding. Compassion helps me practice love and kindness. When I show compassion, I put myself in the place of another by calling upon my empathy and understanding. Compassion is the key that allows me to see beyond a person's behavior that I don't like or agree with and see the Christ within them. I am then able to act with love and warmth because I remember that we are all connected in God. I have compassion for others when I view them not through the lens of judgment, but through the lens of love. This can be difficult with those with whom I am in conflict or those who have beliefs different than mine. I improve with practice and commitment. Compassion roots my entire being in love. And where I act from love, I more easily practice kindness. Rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. From Romans 12, verse 15.
That was awesome, Nancy. So perfect for the day. Just absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Good job,
You're
Nancy.
welcome.
All right, Kim is going to do our affirmative prayer today.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
The one mind, the powerful intelligence that is forever creating life out of its love is ever present and fully active. Its natural state is joy. It is forever rejoicing in its unfoldment. I am an expression of this creating power. The one mind expresses through me. Its joy lives in me. I am one with the one life force. I accept this new awareness that there is no limit to the quiet joy expressing in my life. Awe and wonder are re-established in me. The dust and grime of the journey of my life have no hold over me. I am enough. I am doing enough. I rest in quiet appreciation of the simple beauty of life unfolding within me and all around me. This truth I celebrate, and I trust its continued revelation in my life. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. Oh, so I kind of woke up this morning feeling like this was going to be a powerful day. And I don't know about y'all, but so far it really has. From the meditation to the inspirational message to the affirmation to Karen sharing that post on Facebook this morning, for me, it has been a very powerful day. And everything falling in line as it should. And so it just affirms for me that when I sit down to write these messages out, or, and normally I hear something earlier during the week and I sit down and pin it sometime between
Yeah.
Thursday and Sunday morning. But it always lets me know that I'm on the right track when we have moments like this. And so today I want to tell you about a friend of mine. Um, I have a friend that I speak with often about things relating to the spirit, which truthfully, most of my friends, that's all we ever do. They probably get tired of listening to me because that's kind of where I live. And so, but this particular friend never is bothered by it. Let me just say that, because he lives in the same space. And we, and I'll lose this. We had a conversation this week, and what normally happens is we have this word that we use whenever we have a powerful moment in our conversation. And it is like a little inside joke because most people have no clue what you are trying to convey when you use this particular word. But previously, we discovered our mutual understanding of the word quite by accident. I said something that he thought was profound. And after I finished saying it, he was quiet for a minute, and then he simply said, Selah. And in my response, I realized, he got it. And I said to him, yes, Selah. He sat in silence for a moment, and then we went on to discuss our surprise that both of us actually got it, that we actually knew the meaning of the word. We further reflected on how the universe really kind of orchestrated our meeting, because you see, we work for the same agency, but our agency is huge. We live in entirely different places. He lives way up north, and I live down here in Georgia. We are from entirely different backgrounds. He being a first generation Filipino American, and me being born and bred African American. So when we say Selah together, it represents to me our commonality, a place where we connect spirit to spirit in spite of all the reasons that we should not. Selah is a reflection of our being on one accord in that moment. So today I want to share this private joke with you and introduce you to this word if you've never heard of it or never understood it before, because it is a word filled with power and promise, the word Selah. Selah appears 71 times alone in the book of Psalms and 3 times in the book of Habakkuk. But amazingly, this word is not found anywhere else in the Bible. To further complicate things, this word has no known origin, and many are still a little uncertain of its full meaning. However, there has been some agreement amongst scholars on 2 meanings. The first meaning is to lift up. And because Psalms is songs, to lift up reflects a need to raise something, such as a musical note, to a higher level. So imagine a singer performing the national anthem, and she is almost finished, and she comes to the end of the song, and as she begins the very last phrase, home of the brave, she plants her feet, digs in deep, reaches deep inside her stomach, and pulls from the bottom as the band is gently beating on the drums and playing softly. And she begins in a lower tone, but gradually she raises that note slightly up the scale. Before you know it, she is blowing full blast, an amazing note. The band begins to play again, followed by the crescendo of the cymbals and the drums, and of course, fireworks. What would it be without fireworks? And if she's done it properly, the crowd is amazed at what I would call the icing on the cake finale. They raise to their feet with thunderous applause. They along with the note, have been lifted up and transcended from nice to wow. That's the meaning of the first word. Now, the second meaning is quite different from the first. It has no loud crescendos, no thunderous applause. It simply means to take a pause, to take a moment of silence to experience and digest what has previously been spoken a song. You may not know it, but as I said previously, the Psalms in the book of Psalms were meant to be sang. And the writer often gave direction to the congregation on how to sing them. This would be one of those moments where the director would say, now pause. Take a moment to reflect on what you just sang. This is how the interpretation of lift up and pause are conveyed by the term Selah from a musical perspective. But these two terms, or these two definitions, while seemingly different extremes when it comes to singing, are correlated when it comes to everyday application. I'll give you an example of what I mean. There is an R&B group that I love that has been around, honestly, since before I was born. I think my birthday and their anniversary correlate also. Their music has spanned generations, and still today, their concerts bring people of all ages together. The group is known as Frankie, Beverly, and Maze. Every year for about 10 years now, I've managed to be in a location where they are performing. And I always go because their concerts are like a spiritual experience to me, and it happens every single time. Their songs are positive, hopeful, and filled with wisdom. I distinctly remember being at one of their concerts and having one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. They were singing my favorite song, We Are One, a song about our connectedness. Everyone was dancing and singing along with the band, including myself. But in the midst of all that activity, I found myself taking a pause to take it all in. In that moment of pause, it was as if I was lifted up out of myself. Or more accurately, I was pulled from my preoccupation with my experience, my needs, and my pleasure, and was temporarily allowed to be an observer and not a participant. As an observer of the packed stadium, I could see things I didn't see before. I began to see that entire families had come to this concert. One family had 3 generations in this one spot. Throughout the auditorium were grandparents, parents, small children, teenagers, women, and men, all singing and dancing in unison. The joy that was felt in that moment was profound. The words of the song were being manifested as they spoke. We were all on one accord. People who didn't even know each other were dancing and singing together with the biggest smiles on their faces. It inspired me and gave me hope. In that moment, I received a glimpse of what peace and harmony could look like in the earth. I had been lifted up out of myself and allowed to pause long enough to truly see the beauty around me. And my spirit proclaimed, Selah. I can imagine that part of the reason that the word Selah is so hard to define for scholars is that its meaning should be felt instead of intellectualized. Had I never felt it, I never could have understood it because of the two very different translations. Now, while my experience of Selah brought me to tears of joy, This same experience can also bring tears of sadness. It can inspire acts of compassion and love, calm or rage. Imagine, if you can, the experience of Selah in the midst of the fires of Minneapolis. You are within the group of protesters who are running and trying to get to safety. Your body slows to the point of temporary stillness, and you are lifted out of self just long enough to truly look around you. You pause and observe all the destruction around you. You see people running, trampling over others, fires burning, police firing weapons, but you also see people helping the wounded get to safety. People crying and looking disoriented, but being comforted by others. All external and internal sound has seemingly paused because this moment is meant to be felt, not heard or intellectualized. This is a conscious experience of images, things going very, very wrong. I can imagine that in the midst of that observation, you might ask yourself, how did we get here? How did our good intentions lead to such a terrible end? Your heart breaks as you realize that this may not be healthy. And then you question, where do we go from here? Then the moment is brought to an end because for your own safety, you have to continue to move. And your spirit says, Selah. So the experience of Selah allows us to see things differently, to truly become aware of our surroundings, our actions, and their impact. It allows us to see the unity or to see the division, to see the peace or the turmoil. You see, Selah is neither good nor bad. It just is. When words can no longer truly express our feelings, we say Selah. When we have done all we can and there's nothing left to do, we say Selah. When the point has been made and the impact has been felt, we say Selah. The writer of Psalms, one of the writers, in Psalms 3, uses the term Selah 3 times. Each time it's used, it expresses a different level of awareness. In the writer's first level of awareness, he writes, Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. Selah. Then he writes, but you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high. I call out to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy mountain. Selah. I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. From the Lord comes deliverance. Your blessing is on your people. Selah. As we look at this, what we see first is the writer conveying his fears, his problems, his limited belief. His awareness is then brought to him an experience of fear. But then I love what happens next. The moment of reflection leads him to another awareness. The awareness that every time he has needed help, God was always there as a shield and a protector, one that will not allow him to be ashamed. His fears begin to subside, his faith is reinforced, and confidence is restored. Selah. This moment of pause and allowing the spirit to be raised up in us is what happens when we take a moment to get out of the busyness of our minds and become consciousness of not just what is happening in the moment, but of the truth of who we are. Selah can prompt us to right action because it is a moment where we stop rushing and are reminded of our purpose here. This awareness can lead us to help someone in need without an agenda. Here's an example. If you're like me, Saturday is a day to take care of all those things you were too busy to take care of during the week. I often get shopping, cleaning, or even personal care such as washing my hair done on Saturday. So for me, Saturday can be nuts. Because I also have to ensure that I'm fully prepared for Sunday, I'm extremely cognizant of time while I'm doing these things. My goal is to get home, and by the time it gets dark, I can get quiet and go over my notes so that I have a message for the next day. Now, if you're like me, that drive to get things done can cause you to become real self-absorbed. You forget to be mindful of the people around you because of the world of conversations that you have going on in your head. So in comes Selah. For me, Selah in the grocery store on a busy day looked like that moment of awareness where we see someone struggling to put their grocery cart back in the store because they are no longer strong enough or as strong as they used to be to get it back. Or maybe even they have an injury that prevents them from functioning as they normally would. Selah allows you to see how impatient the people in the cars are being with the person in their slowness. You see, Selah allows you to see his or her frustration with themselves for not being able to do things the way they used to be able to do them. From there, Selah gives you the words needed in this beginning moment. It forms in your mouth. You determine that you should not walk up to them and say, "Can I help you?" because it might cause them to feel helpless and weak. Instead, you say, "May I take this buggy from you? I need a buggy to shop," sparing them their dignity and being of help all at the same time. This form of Selah is powerful, not only because it lifts us up out of self, but puts us in the moment to lift up others out of themselves, helping us to remember that there is good in the universe because the good is in us. Right now, there are many of us needing to take a moment to pause and raise our spirit out of self-absorption. We need to be reminded to not focus on what we need, but what is needed in the world today so that we can be the conduit to bring it into being. I heard someone say this past week that we need to realize that behind all anger is pain and hurt. So stepping out of self has allowed me to not just speak about my pain this week, but speak about the pains of others. A moment of pause allowed me to remember that threats of violence are always a response to fear. So if in the moment we can get out of our pain and fear, we can begin to speak to the pain and fear in others and bring healing. But we can only do this when we raise ourselves out of preoccupation with what we need or desire. Or as Prince would say, if we just bear the cross. Within a few weeks, it is my hope to create a space for dialogue between humans from all backgrounds regarding our present state of being. In order to do this effectively, each one of us must be strong enough to step out of self long enough to hear the needs of others. Now, I'm not telling you that your feelings are invalid or that they don't deserve to be heard, but I want you to begin to think about our spiritual practice, the universal laws that we've learned and understand. For example, if we give, will we not receive? Or better yet, we receive because we give. So let's take a moment and put this spiritual law into practical application. When we give someone the chance to be heard, we will also receive the chance to be heard too. I'll give you an example. This week, I've run into a few people who have been focusing too much on the rioters and not the protesters or their message. They have stepped into fear and are now beginning to speak out from that fear. In my response, I've learned to use these words. I hear you and I understand. Now, when I start with those simple phrases, it's like throwing sand on fire. The air is smothered and prevented from stoking the flames. I started doing this because I noticed that when I defended my position, the argument only continued. And even friends started looking like enemies as we navigated the minefield of the conversation. I was in my lower self, and so were they. We were in the position of the disempowered self. So I paused for a moment to allow my higher self to be raised up. And my empowered self stepped in, and the game changed. Now, y'all know I love Star Trek and Star Wars and all of those things. So I got to take a moment here because it, for me, was like watching a Jedi mind trick play out in my life. Just those few words, I hear you and I understand, allowed us to break down the walls that divided us and get to a place of mutual accord. And then I could be heard and we could agree to commit to moving forward in love. I'm here to tell you today that this is the only way we can make things different. This is the only way we can bring change. This is the way we break the cycle. One person, one group, one nation at a time. For years now, people have been using the word love, but they have been expressing love as an emotion or a feeling. It's time for us to express love as an action, because expressing that as a feeling never works. But in order to do that, we've got to remember who we are. We are not without power to change things. We are not helpless, but we are powerful through the spirit that lies within each of us. This morning, I want us to take a moment of pause. I wrote some affirmations this morning that I will share during the pause. As I share them, I want you to close your eyes and fully imagine yourself embodying. Once we finish, I want you to continue to ponder the words in your mind. And whenever conflicts arise, and they will, I want these affirmations to come through your thoughts. Are you ready? Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and repeat in your head with me. I am a unique expression of the divine God that lies within all mankind. I am a living, breathing expression of the Christ, unconditional love, which not only holds me together, but is the very thread of the fabric that is known as the universe. Therefore, I am a part of the all. I am spirit, therefore I am powerful beyond measure. I am not limited by time, nor space, nor physicality. I am healing. Every day I heal myself, bringing healing to the world. I am peace. Where there is peace in my heart and mind, then there is peace in the earth. I am forgiveness. I bring about growth and perfection to the world. I am grace. Unmerited favor flows to me and through me. I am beauty. To behold me is to behold the very wonder of God. I am creativity. Through every thought, every word, every action, I participate in the creation of this world. I am grateful for all those individuals in my life who have traveled this spiritual journey with me, for those that love me and those that do not, for those that were my friends and for those that were not. They are all my teachers, and therefore I am grateful. I am whole, and so it is.
I love that.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yes, that came to me this morning as I was praying and thinking about some other stuff.
Can we get that in writing?
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually on my Facebook page, but I'll email it to you.
Okay.
For those of you who are not on the Facebook page, I'll email it to you. Yeah. We got to stand in that this week. If we're going to change this narrative, we got to change the narrative. And if we are going to change this narrative, now is the time to do it. But in order to do it, you've got to remember who we are. Amen. Yes. Okay. All right. So now is our time for giving as normal. And Nancy, were you saying something? No. Okay. Okay. So now I just want to remind everybody that we have a new way of giving now. Discovered that Jill was having trouble with PayPal, and as a result, I created a Cash App account because that works easier for some folks. And so now we have a Cash App account, and the Cash App account is Spirit Led Life Center. And if you have Cash App, you know how to use it. Just go in, type in Spirit Led Life Center, send us some money. But as always, we're still on PayPal. Okay. And you can do your donations and your tithes that way. And know that we appreciate it, and we are definitely putting it to good use. Okay, we're putting it to good use. And so, as usual, let's take this moment to affirm what we know to be true about our giving, even as we are not giving in this moment, but we'll give later. We say, divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, all that I am. So it is. Okay. All right. Announcement time. Shirley and James and I met over at the church on Saturday this week. Mm-hmm. And we spread out the chairs and looked at how we could move back into the church and be mindful of the coronavirus because it is still here. And so we are anticipating, unless anybody has some major misgivings about it. Being in church in our building on Sunday, July the 14th. June 14th. I'm looking at
June 14th.
June 14th. We will be Lysoling the building, especially so after service, before service, that'll be taken care of. We'll have masks available and do everything we can to keep everyone safe. Does anybody have any major objection to that? Kim, we'll be working on video. We haven't forgotten you. I saw the look on your face.
Like, yeah, that's my objection. What about me?
We knew that was gonna happen. Any thoughts? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'll be attending. If I feel comfortable about doing it, yes, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way, because with all the protests and all these people traveling and doing all these big crowds, I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
Okay, so do this for me. Let's put it to a vote. All the opposed, raise your hands. I need to see your hands.
Yeah. I'm kind of in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy. I'm just kind of iffy.
You want to wait a couple more weeks, or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I would. I mean, because next week just seems too soon.
Okay.
Yeah. After all that's been going on, and
that's
people
too
hitting
soon.
the beach for the let's see, the 25th, the holiday, and
Right. It's too soon.
Okay. Okay.
That's fine.
We'll continue. We'll continue as is. I
You know,
want you
I
guys.
think at least a couple of more weeks to see what happens after,
Okay. That's not a problem.
Has Governor Kemp made any announcement as to whether we have gotten over the 2-week hump as far as coronavirus cases not escalating or going up or down?
He's claiming everybody is getting pneumonia, and it's not the coronavirus.
well, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
No, that doesn't make any sense.
I haven't heard
at
it.
all.
Stop listening to him. I
So
stopped
now
listening
he's
to
like,
him.
it's everybody just has pneumonia now. So
Well, he's concentrating on whether or not the Republican Party is going to have their shedang here.
Yes.
I hope
Yeah.
not.
I don't think that's.
they having it in North Carolina.
No, okay.
Well, North Carolina said no.
Yeah.
Well, the only
It's
reason
okay,
I was asking is because I think that's something that needs to be considered. What are the cases looking like? And like Stacy and Jill mentioned, with protests and everything going on, I mean, for those who are susceptible, body, mind, or spirit, it is very plausible that we'll be looking at that. So I think next Sunday is kind of soon.
Okay. Okay. Well, we will take that under advisement and leave it as it is. I'm starting to get good at this online stuff, y'all.
Yeah.
And I think all of y'all are getting good at it too. Everybody's screened up. Everybody can talk when they want to. You know, we doing.
Yeah.
My mom has been quiet, so I'm checking on you, Mama.
You gotta unmute her.
I just tried. There you go.
Okay. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Because I'm also faced with the same dilemma.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I need to get back to Eastman so I can get everything closed out. And I'm up in the air. I just don't think I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so, and this week the allergies have been really, really bad. And so
Georgia done spiked back up again.
Yeah, Louis said that the numbers in Georgia have spiked back up again. I noticed this morning that it had gone from green to beige. And I thought, okay, that means our numbers have gone back up again. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know if I'm going to Eastman even second Sunday, because that's what I told them, maybe.
Okay.
And I'm just not ready to get sick, and I've got some of those underlying health problems, and I'm just not willing to put myself at risk. So
Understandable. And then the other plus is the longer she stays out of Eastman, the longer we get to have it over here.
Yeah, that's
I need to go to Eastman so I can close it out. I promised them I would not as long as we were in crisis.
Yeah.
I need to go and close them out, get somebody else put there or something, so.
Yeah. Well, all right, everybody. I will honor your request and send you guys the meditation, the affirmation this afternoon. And I hope that everybody has a great rest of the day. Kim's got beautiful sunshine up in Michigan. We're kind of ugly down here.
Right.
What it's gonna do today.
Exactly.
We can have a sunshine in our hearts. How about that? We're gonna put that sunshine in our hearts and run with that. So, as I always say, I love you and thank God for you. And can't wait till Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. We'll do our last class.
6:30.
6:30.
The last of the Kabbalion.
We need a calendar.
Wrap up the Kabbalion.
That will be our last Kabbalion class. And then we'll take a break for a while, but Wednesday class will continue Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Right.
Yes, with the Universal Christ. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and look forward to seeing you throughout the week.